Michael Vick, the Allen Iverson of football. Some people love him, and some people don't. On June 26, 1980, Vick was born with his 3 parents and 3 siblings. Although his parents ran a stable household, his hometown was ruled by drugs and gang activity. Instantly, Vick showed athletic ability in his household after his father first showed him a football at the age of 3. Later, he got to show his talents at Warwick High School, where Coach Tommy Riemann taught Vick how to use his elusiveness. After a successful high school career, Vick stacked up many offers for college and eventually decided to stay close to home and go to Virginia Tech. After redshirting his first year, he became an instant star quarterback in 1999 for the Virginia Tech Hokies. His electrifying speed and overpowering arm helped him lead the Hokies to the Sugar Bowl and National Championship game. Not only that, but he would go on to have another stellar season for the Hokies and going 11-1 while beating Clemson in the Gator Bowl. Both seasons combined, he passed for over 3,200 yards and 21 touchdowns and ran for a staggering 1,200 yards and 17 touchdowns. In early 2001, Vick declared for the NFL Draft. Scouting reports were exhilarated for his quick feet and speed and his snappy overhead delivery and good feel for reading defenses. But Vick wasn't any ordinary quarterback. He was fast. Really fast. He ran a 4.33 40-yard dash as a quarterback. Yes, you heard that right. He ran 40 yards in 4.33 seconds. The Falcons knew this kid was special, but they only had the 5th pick. As a result, they stunned everyone by trading up to the Chargers to acquire the number 1 overall selection. With this selection, they went with Vick in hopes of taking them to the promised land.
With the first selection in the 2001 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Michael Vick, quarterback, Virginia Tech.
With the Falcons, he became a full-time starter in 2002 and ended up starting every game except the one near the end of his 2006 season. From 2002 to 2006, Vick was electric and passed for 11,500 yards and rushed for a whopping 3,800 more yards, which included a 1,000-yard season in 2006. Regardless of an injury-prone season he had in 2003, Michael Vick was on top of the world. That was until late April of 2007. Media outlets reported incidents of Michael Vick hosting dogfighting at his residence in Surry County, Virginia, which ended his career with the Falcons. His strange obsession of dogfighting dates back to early 2001 when he and 2 other friends decided to start a journey in hopes of sponsoring American Pit Bull Terriers in dogfighting competitions. In May 2001, Vick's friend Tony Taylor claimed that there was a property in Surry County, Virginia that was quote-unquote a suitable location for housing and training pit bulls for fighting. As a result, Vick bought the $34,000 property a year later. Subsequently, they established Bad News Kennels, which was the name of their dogfighting operation. In summer of 2002, Vick and his co-defendants put dogs through their many testing sessions to help determine which ones were good for fighting and which were not. Meanwhile, Vick would go on to lead the Falcons to the playoffs and end their 4-year playoff drought. After his injury-prone season in 2003, Vick would have an incredible comeback season a year later and get second in the MVP voting and lead his Falcons to the playoffs once again. All the while this is happening, Operation Bad News Kennels was still a thing, and this wouldn't go away.
My best friend called me and told me I knew it was over.
Allegations of hanging, shooting, body slamming, even electrocuting dogs to death.
Vick and his co-defendants continued testing dogs in April of 2007, in which 6 of the 8 that failed were killed. On April 25, 2007, police ended up raiding his property and finding evidence of dogfighting. This case would go on until August 23, 2007, when Vick signed a plea agreement and admitted to conspiracy in a dogfighting ring and helping kill the failed pit bulls.
I'd like to proclaim your innocence.
I won't talk about the situation right now, and when the investigation is over, then I'll be more than glad to answer any questions you have for me.
Shortly after, Vick got suspended indefinitely from NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and served a 23-month sentence. 2 years later, in the middle of 2009, Vick was released and was later reinstated under specific conditions. Now he just needed to wait for a team to give him a chance. Later in 2009, the Philadelphia Eagles signed him for a 1-year contract for $1.6 million and an option for the 2010 season for $5.2 million.
I'm a believer that as long as people go through the right process, they deserve a second chance. Michael has done that. I've done a tremendous amount of homework on this and followed his progress. He's got some great people in his corner. We do make mistakes, and in this situation, he has a chance to prove that.
On August
that he's-
27th, 2009, Vick was approved by a judge in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Newport News, which was the beginning of his reinstatement into the NFL. Other than getting monitored and having to give regular updates with his probation officer, his legal battles were resolved. The majority of his season back was spent as a backup to Donovan McNabb, who had the same type of playstyle as Vick, which made his welcoming to the offense easy. The next year, Vick took over and returned to his original state and won the Comeback Player of the Year award after dominating for over 3,000 passing yards, 21 passing touchdowns, and an extra 670 yards and 9 touchdowns rushed. He led the Eagles to the playoffs with a 10-16 regular season record, and he would go on to have another dominating year and then later being traded to the Jets in 2014 and the Steelers in 2015, where he had a minimal amount of playing time. Finally, on February 3rd, 2017, he officially retired after a total of 13 seasons in the NFL.
Before the season started, you told me that you'd be willing to wait for the entire year to open up for a quarterback job, and if it didn't happen, you'd be done after that. In this moment right now, are you willing to say that you have officially retired?
In this moment right now, I'm willing to say, yeah, I'm officially retired. I think it.
As of now, he can be seen as an analyst for Fox NFL Kickoff and other Fox Sports programs, or giving out speeches to high schools across the nation. Vick has also been constant in helping out his Vick Foundation in hopes of giving people second chances and supporting young people and communities. Some people even believe that Michael Vick can be seen as an inspiration after serving time in prison. As of now, the Bad News Kennels House has been turned into a rehab center for abused dogs by the name of Good News for Dogs. All of this has led me up to one question. Did Michael Vick deserve a second chance?